Bart, let me start with you. What should we expect from Le'Veon Bell in year one with the Jets? We understand that
life's a gamble. Go get it.
But the running back position is the
a plug for my boy. That's what real friends do. You know what I'm saying?
Jenna didn't get it.
No idea.
That's Le'Veon Bell's mixtape.
Mixtape.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Don't disrespect him.
No. He was speaking in terms that I would understand. I have mixtapes still. The running back position is the one where there's the easiest to get back into if you've taken the year off, is from what I understand from you. So tell me about what year one is going to be like, or where your expectations are for Bell.
My expectations for L. Bell is 1,200 rushing and probably 500 receiving. I think that he's going to be refreshed. I think he's going to start off fast, but then he's going to have to get used to getting hit on that level again, because in training camp and practice, you don't get hit like you're going to get hit in the game, especially now. Training camps are a lot different than it used to be. But I think that, a lot of the underrated signings that the Jets have had was the fact that they brought back, they brought in Jameson Crowder. Bellamy will help a little bit. But I think what they really need to do is they need to find and create a position for Quincy Enunwa, because he is good on the outside, and he's almost had 100 yards one time. But I feel like he would be perfect to become like the next Delaney Walker, that type of player where he can be matched up against linebackers. He's 6'2", 225. He can get up to about 240, and then he can create that other position, be the other player that teams have to worry about. Because right now, if all they have to worry about is L. Bell, he's going to drop that. They're going to drop that 8th man in the box. Robbie Anderson on the outside isn't going to demand if you have a legit #1 corner.
But what should we expect from Le'Veon Bell in his first season? That he's an all-pro caliber running back. That's what they signed him for.
Yep.
Like, the Jets weren't like, okay, we know you missed last year, so we're going to ease you. No. Supposed to be fresh because he missed last year. I listened to that 20-minute interview. The one thing he was very clear on was, I feel better than I've ever felt. This is the best my body's ever felt. So
yeah, of course he's going to say that.
Okay, well, whether it's, I think the Jets are, their level of expectation is that they are going to be able to use him like the workhorse he's been his entire career from the word go. He's going to have a full off season for the first time in a few years. If he was out of shape, he's going to have plenty of time to get back into shape. They signed him to help this offense under Adam Gase with year 2 of Sam Darnold take the next step. He is the most talented player on this offense, probably the most talented player on the team. It's not about him being a part of what they're doing. He has to be the focal point, the centerpiece of what they're doing.
And not just hand the ball off to him and let him run. This is a team that needs him as a pass catcher also to help with Sam Darnold's development, help him a little bit. We talk about getting on and off the field, staying on the field, getting to the next down. And also, the Jets team, they're not great catching balls and catching those short balls.
Yes, as far as the running backs coming out of the backfield, they're one of the worst in pro football. So looking at him, not only did they have the money, he was the perfect fit. But really what the question is about what Todd Haley said.
Yeah.
Todd Haley said that your expectations should be tempered a little bit, and he spent 4 years with the guy. Now, Bart, I know you're talking about spending this money on him, but I think he's trying to tell us something here, all right? He's not telling us L. Bell is fat and out of shape. He's not telling us L. Bell can't handle the workload. He was telling us in my first 4 years with him, I think people take for granted. Antonio, people take for granted 100 catches, 1,200 yards. Pittsburgh has a very sophisticated offense. They got a great offensive line. Yep. They utilize their tight ends well, so their personnel, you can't duplicate their personnel. This is what Brian Billick told me was one of the worst things that he did in going from the Minnesota Vikings to the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, he won a championship with defense, but he could never get the personnel and run the type of offense that he had in Minnesota. Todd Haley's giving us a warning. Hey, guys, you better slow down a little bit because you have to build on this. You have to teach him a sophisticated passing game, and you have to implement the whole running game. So maybe my history with him would tell me my expectations should be a little bit tempered because y'all don't know how much football he knows. It's the only offense he ever been in was in Pittsburgh. So it's a whole new learning curve. Yep. You don't play a lot in the preseason. So how is that first month of the season? I always break the season down into 5 quarters. Teams say, well, it's only 4. No. That training camp, I want to hit, man, that first game, coming through that first quarter, man, feeling really good. And then I hit the second quarter, which is the first 4 games of the season. It's monumental that he gets off to a great start. Expectations, they're unrealistic. And, man, if he doesn't have 100 yards rushing, 80 yards receiving those first couple games, people Just slow down just a little bit. Let him learn the offense. He's got a second-year quarterback. They're not real talented as far as their overall offensive line and their skill position. So let's just temper our expectations just a little bit.
That's why I said 1,200 yards, because that's under 100 yards a game.
75 yards a game.
Right. That, you know, and that's why I said create a position for Quincy Enunwa where you can have somebody that becomes a matchup nightmare, because what happens is if you just keep Quincy in his traditional role, then he's not going to garner a double team. But if you put him in a position where he's going to take those linebackers and those safeties away, then it's going to open up things up for Lev Bell, because you don't have a special #1 receiver. Robbie Anderson is trying to be one, but he's like a 1A. He's a guy that's going to run everybody off. And if they're going to do that, they're going to drop that 8th man in the box, and then he may struggle early on. And then how does he adjust there? And also, I want to make sure that I have Lev Bell at a high level for 4 years, not just one.
Right.
So if I do that, I'm going to run my offense. I'm going to let Eli McGuire get more touches and have them share the backfield.
Excuse me. Do you get concerned that this offseason he might have gained some weight?
I don't. It takes 6 weeks to get him to fight in shape.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm sure. And what he's saying, he's the best he's ever felt. You know, I'm sure you felt this way the first year off of retirement. All the inflammation from your joints.
Yeah, it fooled me. Made me come back out there and almost got killed. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Right. See, but he's coming back at 27, right? So it's just like a player coming back from injury that wasn't injured. So, like, he's going to get all the benefits of letting his body rest, but he should be refreshed because he hasn't taken any hits.
All right. That was smooth. Thanks for joining us,
We
Bart.
had to go. Sorry, Jim.
We appreciate it. I didn't know it would be mid-word
Listen to the
ever.